You got the cool guy sleeves.
The cool guys. Is that what that's called?
Yeah, it's got the thumb in the thumb hole in the sleeve, so you can stick. You wear like half gloves when you wear the long sleeve shirt.
Yeah, well, it's done the right way. Where this was a regular shirt, and then I just cut a hole into it. So
you purposefully cut a hole into it?
Oh,
was it like worn over time?
No, well, one of them might have been. No, I remember cutting these. I remember using a screwdriver because you got to make a little hole with
that's
the screwdriver.
Not cutting.
And then you use your thumb to rip the rest of it, and then it looks genuine.
Wait, stop the podcast. I've come from the future with a special important announcement that you absolutely have to hear right now. So pay close attention. It is I, Spencer, of the year, the same year that we recorded this, just like a week later. And I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to a couple wonderful people without whom we'd probably still be doing this, but with slightly less enthusiasm. And they are our top patrons on the Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z Patreon. Patreon.com/EHDBZ. That is the official URL I just checked. So if we tell you anything else in the future of this episode, which is my past, ignore it. The site is patreon.com/EHDBZ. And the top tier patrons get mentioned at the beginning of every episode. Guess what? We forgot. But we did not forget in our hearts. And by hearts, I mean before this episode went out. Those wonderful patrons are Tyler Hyatt and Spencer Feuerstein. Thank you both so much for your contributions. It seriously means a lot. Like, this is an amazing community that we've got, and we're so happy to have the support as we continue on this crazy anime adventure. That's all from me. I'm going to take you back in time now to 1 week ago, which for you is 5 seconds from now. Bye.
Come to me for your weird goth/emo/metal clothing needs. I know things.
You pull off the look well.
I'd pull off the look better if I had fucking hair.
Last time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z, we got to catch up with Gohan 7 years after the Cell fight. Figured out he's going to
not college,
high school now. He's figuring out his place in normal society. He's become the Great Saiyaman, donning a mask and a cape and all kinds of other stupid bullshit to become one of the normals. He's got a maybe girlfriend named Videl. Not actually a girlfriend. She kind of is just a mean girl who's around him. He also has a younger brother named Goten, who Goku never got to meet. We catch up with him now, this time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
I tried to actually make that one make sense.
It was really good. Maybe the best one we've ever done. Welcome to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. I'm Spencer.
Oh, I'm John.
And today we're going to be going over episodes 205 to 209 of Dragon Ball Z, starting with episode 205. The Japanese title is Goku Returning to Life, Entry into the Tenkaichi Tournament. And then the American title is I'll Fight Too.
Can I say that was the worst American title that we've ever had?
It's really bad because who is it even talking about?
It's a me title. And I know why they use that. It's because that's what Goku says the first time Goku speaks for this arc, which is something that I fucking do. So, like, don't do that. Come on. You're making the show. And it's very obvious that they care now. Can we just say that? How did you feel about these episodes? Because I loved them.
I love them again. And I did have a fleeting thought that I was like, man, remember when Dragon Ball Z sucked and like our content was better because we actually had shit to complain about?
Yeah, I do remember that. I was going to say that exact same thing. But my theory is Dragon Ball Z became super successful. After the Cell Saga, everybody loved Dragon Ball Z. Like, it was it was huge. And Funimation had more eyes on it than ever and more budget than ever. So they cared. Even in Japan, when it was being made, you can tell they tried really hard to polish the fuck out of it and give it everything they had. And fucking Toriyama had to make the show about a pink, puffy marshmallow baby. And they were trying so hard with Funimation's cast and crew and production facility to make it serious and good and heartfelt and like a cartoon still, but give it full as much heart as they could. That's my theory, is that this will start off incredibly strong, and we'll be able to tell as it goes on that, yeah, Funimation just like didn't know what the fuck else to do, because what they had to work with is utter fucking nonsense.
Well, it's weird because Toriyama wrote this too, right? Like,
Yeah.
at least adjacently.
Yes, it's great. And it's not like Toriyama can't write good stuff. I think we should talk about Toriyama's writing after we're done with all of this, because it's such a fucking up and down thing. So my title is, I still haven't gone there. I'm sorry. My title is, And the Hits Don't Stop, Baby. Just even the beginning of this, the title
It's
card,
really great. It's
good.
There's something so different about these, at least this episode, but I think the next couple.
Yeah.
That it's just not anything that we've seen in Dragon Ball Z before.
Not the
There's
same
no
show.
like villain. There's not even really a conflict or real danger.
Mhm.
It's literally this weird, like a day in the life of this character. And the character we follow is Gohan. We start with a plane crash. And like, this is the opening scene of any superhero movie ever.
Mhm.
There's a plane going
That's
down
true.
in the city, and the superhero comes and saves the day, and everybody cheers. Except in this case, it's a show called Dragon Ball Z, and we've never seen anything like this before, ever. They spent time on this scene.
Yes.
It's at sunset. The lighting is gorgeous. Like, there's establishing shots. The Great Saiyaman, aka Gohan, lifts up the plane, drags it to safety, and everything's good. We find out that Gohan is becoming something of a famous figure.
Yeah, he's
in
being
Satan
interviewed
City.
after he saves the
Yeah,
plane.
like everybody likes the Great Saiyaman.
Mm-hmm.
I love this episode for a lot of reasons.
We said this at the beginning, how the stuff doesn't suck, so we can't get mad, so our content's gonna suck. But like, I legitimately teared up at one of these episodes. I actually did.
Yep. I think I know exactly the scene
It's
you're.
so
We'll see if we sync
heartfelt
up.
and
It's
weird
really
to
good.
care this much about this show.
I can see why you wouldn't. I can see why people would not enjoy this saga, because it's not fighting, yelling, powering up, cool
Yeah.
villains, character design, things like that. It literally changes into a high school, I'm struggling, like a sitcom sort of vibe.
Yeah. It's a difficult thing to
it's-
describe. Like, I don't blame you,
Yeah.
because this is not normal, because it's still Dragon Ball Z, but it is it's like inside the framework of Dragon Ball Z, they are creating a heartfelt character story about Gohan.
These episodes would not have worked if it wasn't for the 200 episodes preceding it.
Yes, that's
I don't think you need all of the 200, but like the fact that the show
know.
was different,
the Snake Lady Revolver thing. This is so important.
you couldn't come out of the gate with something like this. And it makes it like a unique phenomenon. The fact that it started so different and led you on this path, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden is doing this. Like, it's still, the characters still feel like the same people. I don't like, it's so difficult to explain.
It's really
But they're doing very different things, and it feels good because it's a nice change of pace, because it's come from this place of, oh my God, they're doing this again.
yes.
And they finally are not.
Mhm.
And then stacked a time skip on top of that, so their characters actually have to develop and change and grow. I don't know why it works. I have no
works,
idea
but
why
it
this works so well.
It works so well, to where there have been times when I question why we're doing this podcast, and I don't anymore. I never do. With these last two episodes of our podcast that we've done, I'm like, this is why
It's been building to this.
It's a weird thing to rewatch a whole series that you love, because you have moments where you rediscover this is why I love this. To try and break it down like we are, it's very difficult to apply logic and dissect and analyze emotional value. But that's what
Yeah.
we have to try and do here. And unfortunately, I am not smart. So
No, it's
hard.
definitely, it's hard. It's really difficult, but I thought about it constantly as I was watching these episodes, because it's not the same show. And I said that a lot last episode, and that continues to be the case, maybe even more in these episodes.
It's a different show to someone that has watched the entire series. I think someone that just picks it up and maybe watches the end of the Cell Saga and then watches this part won't see what we're seeing. The drastic improvement in writing quality and in acting, in voice acting, especially oh my God, some of the voice acting in this. I don't know who does Gohan. I don't know who does adult Gohan. I want to.
I was going to say the same thing. I don't know what happened to the kid Gohan's voice actor. They were great, obviously, in the Cell Saga. adult Gohan is amazing.
It's
like he can carry the show.
He does carry the show.
These episodes.
Oh my God. It's good enough that we've been recording about DBZ at least for 15 minutes and have hardly talked about the episodes. But I'm glad that you are sharing in this feeling of like rediscovery and almost like overwhelming appreciation, I guess.
Yeah, there's a weird like emotional component to getting to these episodes after having watched everything that came before it.
Yeah, let's, I guess, try and get back to this. So Saiyaman saves a plane. He's being interviewed. It's really cool because you get to see him on TV and he's becoming a thing. He's becoming a figure in society, in Satan City at least. He's a name. And they're asking him, "Oh, where did you come from? Who are you?" And he gets on top of the plane and, of course, does his embarrassing poses. Remarkably, thank God, everyone reacts appropriately. That's what makes it work.
It's so great.
That's what makes it
He's
work.
sitting up there like chanting like, "Hey ho, here we go. I'm, great Saiyaman."
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, "Oh, he's such a nerd."
He's such a nerd.
And he like he flies off in his head thinking, "I'm the coolest shit that has ever graced this planet."
That's the conflict, is he can't get it.
Gohan, as dorky as he is, believes that he's like pulling this off. And while everybody is happy that he's like doing all these things, his actions, they are kind of embarrassed that he is so nerdy. It's fantastic. It's really good. Oh my God, it's going to take us forever to get through this episode. Gohan goes to Capsule Corp to talk to Bulma,
which is a lot of fun.
Oh God, I love this scene so much. So I don't remember why he's there. It doesn't matter.
Oh, because he's got to tell Bulma about being in the tournament, that he has to be in the tournament with Videl.
Yeah. So that's the thing. His helmet won't cut it because the tournament doesn't allow head protection. So he needs another option to keep his identity hidden. While competing in the tournament, he's being forced into the tournament thanks to blackmail.
Which Bulma says, "You get blackmailed more than a politician."
Fantastic.
All of the lines, the writing, it's dead on. Way to go.
Almost every character is completely on point. The best version of themselves.
Yes.
This includes Bulma, despite her smoking habit.
Oh, yeah, she picks up a cigarette. There's a whole scene dedicated to her lighting a cigarette and talking.
She's working on a motorcycle. She's wearing a leather jacket. She's cool as shit.
She's
hanging out with her son.
And her son's awesome because her son's like, "Man, if I had a girl problem, I'd just beat the shit out of her." Like, that's such a young Vegeta's child thing to say.
That's the thing is like Kid Trunks is more Vegeta than Teen Trunks.
That's 100% true.
Which makes sense because the Trunks that we know didn't grow up with Vegeta and this one did. So you're already seeing the contrast of his character.
Which is that I didn't think about that, but like the Kid Trunks that we have here is Vegeta's son. But Trunks 100%. That we have in the Cell Saga is Bulma's son. That's a crazy thing.
It's really funny. Basically, Bulma's big science idea is to give him a turban and sunglasses.
Yeah, big science ideas right there.
And Gohan fucking loves it. Trunks thinks he's a big old nerd.
As he's talking to Trunks, Vegeta walks in and says, "Oh, you're going to be in a tournament? I'll be in the tournament too, because I can beat the shit out of you." That's when you hear Ghost Goku just say, "I'll come too," or whatever the title of the episode, I forgot.
Yeah. It seriously comes out of nowhere.
Goku's voice. Nowhere, his ghost voice.
It's Bulma, Vegeta, Trunks, and Gohan, which is the weirdest collection of characters that you would expect to like witness Goku's return. But he says, "Hey, I can enter the tournament because what's her name?
Baba.
Fortune teller Baba says that I've got enough credit to earn me 24 hours back on Earth." So apparently there's like a currency system or some shit.
Okay, so many questions. Because currency system, A, I don't even have the time. B, is this the first time Goku has reached out to his family in 7 years when he has the ability to just touch the back of King Kai? He's like, "Oh, I wonder how my fucking wife is doing." No, I'm too busy training like crazy.
Like, do I want to talk to the son I've never met? Nah, I'll wait a few more years.
Yeah.
And then chime in when there's a tournament. Like, there's so many things.
The questions that were asked in the beginning of this: is Goku a bad dad or is Goku a bad person? I think Goku's a fine father. I think he's a shit fucking husband. And I think he's a questionable person.
I think he misses his family genuinely. And I also think that he's just like, okay, these are my circumstances. He's not really a problem solver, is he? Like he's just sort of a bulldozer, And if it's not going to bulldoze, just like, well, I'll go over here and bulldoze this thing. Like he's very sort of one track minded. He's not like, how can I get back to Earth? How can I?
He said this last time.
He doesn't care.
Every character changes except for Goku. And Goku has always been Goku ever since Dragon Ball. That kid
Yeah.
that Bulma ran into is the same character that just came
That's
back
the
from
thing.
the dead right
He's
now.
not malicious. He's just immature. So Goku's essentially buying a ticket to Disneyland, but Disneyland is Earth in
Disneyland
this
is
case.
just living life.
Going
Yeah.
a little on a little vacation. Vegeta's excited for Goku's return.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was really awesome. Like, nah, I'm excited too. I get to fight Goku.
Vegeta's changed. Even through his small lines, you can tell his character is
Dude,
different.
everybody's changed except for Goku, of course. But like everybody's changed in this
Yeah.
show. It's amazing to see their growth. And everybody, like I said, is on point. Like they're great.
So Gohan is really excited and goes off to tell other people about the tournament and Goku's return. He does a little swim through fish, which I thought was a really fun.
Oh, the whole
little-
sequence of Gohan flying home is
So excited.
fantastic.
It is.
Like it's shot. It's like animated really well.
Mhm.
And it's literally just him like flying on top of a lake and diving in and hanging out
Yeah.
with fish for a bit. And
Yeah.
like it's really good.
and
It's
there's
really good.
there's a continuity connection as he flies past the farmer, from the beginning ass of the show.
And he's got a blue Chevy truck too. Like it's
Mhm,
the
with
exact
weird
same.
turkey
Yeah.
things. Oh my god! And so he eventually starts flying over a city or what he thinks is like a little town, and he sees this. Genuinely startled me up front because we see what Gohan sees, which is two motherfuckers in a car, some dude and who's like a swine man. The furries are back, by the way.
The anthropomorphic people are back, which is
Mhm.
great. I honestly thought they were gone forever, but they're back in full force in these 5 episodes.
They're driving behind some lady, and the lady's screaming, "Help, help, help." And the pig one pulls out a gun and starts shooting at her. And there's one scene where he shoots the window out, and it's really like, why is this so well animated? All the individual pieces of the glass go flying out of the car, which was probably a huge bitch to animate, by the way, because there's about 98 pieces of glass. And Gohan sees this and just bam, stops them from following the lady. And the lady gets out of the car and starts screaming at Gohan, like, "What the fuck are you doing? That was the best take we've had so far." And I loved this because I've been wondering how Gohan could fuck up saving people, how he could ruin a moment trying to save people and it being the wrong thing to do. Him interrupting a movie that's going on. Great.
Yeah, it's wild. He's interrupting a movie shoot, unbeknownst to him.
Not just any movie shoot.
They're making a Saiyaman movie.
They're making a movie about him.
Yeah, and the Saiyaman that they've got him hooked up to a crane, and the actor Saiyaman is so scared to like do stunts and stuff that he basically just quits. And the director is like, "Oh crap, where are we gonna find another Saiyaman?" And Gohan's like, I'm Saiyaman.
I think it's the casting director.
Yeah,
looks at
whatever.
him,
Yeah,
And it like slowly zooms in on the casting director's face. And then it stops and he goes, "You don't look anything like Saiyaman." Like it's such a good joke. The timing, ooh, it's good. But they
like
cast,
it's a running gag
it is
that
It's really
nobody recognizes the real Saiyaman.
perfect.
Gohan finds himself starring in his own movie, and he's dressed up like Saiyaman. They hook him up to a crane. They're like, "All right, this stunt, we're going to fly you over here." He's like, "Oh crap, it's getting late. I got to go tell my mom and Krillin that Goku's coming back.
Mhm.
I can't be messing around in this movie set." So he's hooked up to the crane, and they call action, and he flies away. He's like, "I got to go, bye." He's still hooked up to the crane, and he just breaks the crane. The rope goes taut, and it all shatters, and he just destroys the entire set of the movie. Everything.
It's incredible.
It just blows up as he flies away. It's really funny.
They're standing around like, what? That could not have been the real. Oh my
Was that
god!
really
was that
Saiyaman?
really him? Like they had no idea until he ruins the whole set. Well, we're coming up on a Krillin scene, so your fucking turn. Let me. Oh, first they get to the Roshi's Island, and a crab falls off a tree, baby.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna show. Yeah, I know. I knew it. I wrote that down just for you.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so this is an amazing scene because Gohan arrives on Master Roshi's island, comes across Krillin, and Krillin has hair.
Traitor.
He's given up the bald life. It's so weird. Gohan addresses the audience. He breaks the fourth wall, stares directly into the camera, and says, "Hey guys, this is Krillin. He grew out his hair, but it's still him." This Ferris Buellerian antics that Gohan is pulling this episode is ridiculous. We find out that Krillin is married. We find out that Krillin has a kid.
Uh-huh.
We find out that kid is named Marin. It's a little like 4-year-old girl. I don't know why Krillin named his daughter
Ran out
Marin.
of names. You should have called her 19.
And then we find out that Krillin is married to Android 18, They're living on Master Roshi's island.
Which honestly sounds like a marriage made in heaven, because Android 18 would take 0% of Roshi's shit.
Gohan tells him about the tournament. Hey, you should enter. There's, millions of dollars in prizes. I think 18 also says like, oh, hey, I'll enter too. And
because there's money involved.
Because there's money involved. Yeah, of course. And Krillin's like, hey, maybe don't tell Piccolo, because then maybe I'll actually make the top 5, because the top 5 get prize money.
I'll have a chance.
Even Krillin is on point in these episodes. Like he's full of one-liners and zingers, and he doesn't embarrass himself too much. It's really nice, actually.
Yeah, he's different too, being married. Sometimes when a time skip happens, you wonder why certain things happen the way they do. The way that they've structured the characters after the time skip, it just makes sense. Like it all falls into place perfectly.
Gohan's like, nah, I got to tell Piccolo. And Krillin's like, well, if you won't do me this favor, I'm going to need to be honest about your outfit with you. Everybody throughout this entire show hates Gohan's Saiyaman outfit. And I don't understand why. Maybe I'm a nerd too, but I think Gohan looks pretty cool.
He looks like the Christmas warrior. He doesn't look good.
It's a pretty good name. Anyway, so he flies off to Kami Tower next and greets Piccolo. Piccolo also hates the outfit, and Piccolo agrees to come to the tournament. Dende has aged up as well. He's still hanging out, which is great. That's a pretty quick scene. Gohan flies away. He's flying home, and he's having this internal, external monologue with himself about why everybody hates his outfit. He's like, Piccolo too? He wears a turban.
And then he stops, he catches himself. He's like, well, I guess I wore that too when I was training with Piccolo. And in that moment, I realized, wow, all these characters have this deep, meaningful relationship with each other.
It's built in to the episodes. Like they mention stuff. It matters. It happened. It's in their history and they reference it. So many shows have this big, long history and they just like, they never mention anything that's happened in the past again. It's really refreshing to see this like continuity in a show, especially this far back. Like this was produced in the 90s before serialized television was really like a big hit. Maybe it was more popular in anime or whatever, but certainly when I was a kid, it was just like, episode by episode. But it does such a good job establishing this long legacy of these characters' lives.
That's a great way to put it. It makes A to B to C actually feel like we can go back to B and remember, yes, we were there.
Well, we're reminiscing along with Gohan. Like it matters to the audience just as much as it matters to the character. And I think that's important.
Yeah. Yes. I love these moments where Gohan just talks to himself, which he's just providing exposition, but he is also genuinely having this conversation with himself, probably like a lot of people do when they are alone.
Gohan seems very human. Goku never seemed that human. Goku's always a character. He's very hard to relate to. He's funny and he's charismatic at times. And, he's a hero at times, but he's very hard to relate to as a person. Gohan is very much a human being, even though he's half Saiyan. Like he's a normal, nerdy, dorky teenager. I've had a lot of these same experiences in a much less cool way that Gohan is having. I want to mention the scene with Chi-Chi because I think it's really good. Gohan eventually gets home.
Different in Japanese. Did you notice that? Do you have the subtitles?
Yeah, I did.
Cool.
Chi-Chi is excited to hear that her husband is coming back. Like genuinely excited. And she's also sad because she's gotten old and she's like, oh, dead people don't age. So I think he probably looks better than I do. I'm going to have to do my hair and all this stuff. Like she seems genuinely excited to see Goku again, which is nice. It's really nice. It cements their relationship and the feelings they have for each other. Yeah. It's good. In Japan, Gohan's telling his mother about the tournament. He wants to enter, but he's going to have to miss school if he trains to enter this tournament. Chi-Chi in Japanese is very excited from the get-go because Gohan mentions the prize money a lot faster, a lot earlier in the conversation, and she's like, "Oh man, we're getting to the bottom of Pa's fortune, which I can only imagine is the Ox King."
Yeah.
And we really could use the money. So yeah, you enter, Goten enter, skip school, whatever, train. And in America, Gohan brings it up and she's kind of angry.
Yeah, she's Chi-Chi.
But still subdued enough that I can kind of see where she's coming from.
Yeah, still mom. But
at this point, she's just a mom that wants her son to have a good education, not like
a hyperbolized version of an antagonistic character.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put her. Her concerns are human, not ridiculous character.
Yeah, and maybe just like stretched a little bit, but not to the extent that it has been in the past. Anyway, in America, she's like, no, you can't miss school. No. And then Gohan mentions the prize money, and she's like, oh man, you could afford a PhD program with that money. Yes. And in this conversation, they cut to an exterior of Goku's house that they're inside.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an owl on a tree, but the owl is wearing a hat, which I didn't understand.
Get that one either. I think it might be a reference to maybe a different manga or anime that Toriyama has worked on, or maybe it's just I don't know. It's just like a little throwaway thing, or maybe he just wanted to throw an owl with a hat. I don't know.
I guess I just noticed it anyway. So then we cut to Chi-Chi agrees basically, and then we cut to this scene, this beautiful scene with
good.
Gohan and Goten together going to bed. Goten's like, I've never met my dad before. What's he like? And Gohan's like, I don't know. He's kind of like an angel. And Goten's like, well, what's an angel like? And Gohan's like, well, I don't know, but I just know that when he's around, you feel happy inside.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's this just nice little, like, yeah, that's basically Goku. Like when he's around, I just feel kind of happy. Like he's just nice to have around. I think everybody feels that way. Anyway, so Gohan and Goten are going to get up early to train together.
I think that's it. All right.
Yeah, Gohan goes Super Saiyan for the first time so that they can train for real.
That's right. Yeah, they go out to go train. They go running through some. I think we recap a little bit of that in the next beginning.
Yeah, in the next episode we will. Yeah, but it's nice. The character relationships are so well established in these episodes because they actually take time. They don't waste time.
Yeah,
Dragon Ball Z has been slow paced before, but they waste time.
I have a moment that I'm going to talk about that specific thing because
this is slow paced. I don't feel like they're wasting too much time here. They're establishing relationships. They're having characters talk to each other. And like, there's just really good moments here that mean something to the characters.
It's the difference between microwaving something and actually cooking it in the oven. Next episode, baby. We got
episode 206. The American title is Nope. The Japanese title.
The American title is just Nope.
I know. That would be good. Have you seen the trailer for Jordan Peele's new movie called Nope?
Oh,
this isn't a bit. It's actually a thing. Yeah, trailer is actually pretty good. You should look it up.
I should. I like Jordan Peele.
The Japanese title is Even Goku is Surprised. Nope. Even Gohan is Surprised. Goten's Explosion of Power. The American title is The Newest Super Saiyan.
My episode title is Gohan versus the Super Pedestrian.
We open this episode on Kame Tower. Piccolo is glowing.
Piccolo's training to become a bug zapper. Outside of
he's
trailer.
meditating like 30 feet above Kami Tower, and he's just glowing. Popo and Dende have this amazing conversation as they're watching Piccolo. He's like, he's been like that for days.
Mm-hmm.
And there's little butterflies flying around Piccolo, and the energy that Piccolo is exuding kills the butterflies. They go down. And Mr. Popo is like, oh, that's 14 butterflies in the last 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Dende's like, that's not that bad. It's only like two butterflies every hour or whatever. Piccolo is basically a bug zapper. I'm glad that that was the analogy that got you to. But Dende heals the butterflies, brings it back to life. Everything's fine.
Well, it was interesting. In Japanese, he doesn't say that. So in Japanese, they just die. There's a shot of the butterflies on the ground that are like going to die. You know how when a bug hit the ground and its legs are like, that's the shot. And in English, Dende says, don't worry. It just happened so I can heal them. In Japanese, he doesn't say anything. It just shows the bugs. So,
and I kind of prefer the American dub in this situation because
it's character building.
Dende's a healer.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense with this character.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts to Kame Island. 18 and Krillin are training. They're fighting each other. They're sparring on the beach. Beautiful morning. And Krillin's like, whoa, hey, I just got up. Like, aren't we going to have breakfast first? And 18's like, you got to earn your breakfast. And they just like start blasting each other. It's amazing. Their relationship is one of my favorite things in Dragon Ball Z moving forward. I think it's really good.
It's the only way Krillin was going to get a wife or a girlfriend is if that wife is the dom. Afterwards, we cut to
Gohan
and Goten's training, which is a really nice scene of them running through the forest, just having fun. We get to experience what it's like these two brothers enjoying each other's presence, running through the forest, and they eventually get to training grounds, which y'all know what training grounds are. It's the wasteland. It's the middle of fuck nowhere with the mountains and the little bit of grass on top of the mountains. You know what that is. So they get there, and Gohan goes Super Saiyan. He's going to start training. Goten gets distracted by some weird pink thing.
Gohan's ready to go, and then he's like, Goten, where's Goten? He looks over and finds Goten by a rock with a tiny little mini dinosaur, and he's laughing. He's getting kissed by this dinosaur. He's like,
it reminds me of Icarus.
I'm being attacked by a wild dinosaur. Please help me. And he's just laughing. And Goten is maybe a surprisingly well-established character in these episodes. I thought he was kind of going to be a throwaway just kind of put in there for, I don't know, the sake of expanding the cast or having the child element, but he's actually a pretty good character.
Same. I didn't care about Goten. Like in the games when I was playing them years ago or watching the show before, I didn't care that Goten exists.
Yeah.
I care about Goten now.
Despite how he looks exactly like Goku, he's a distinct person. The characterization in these episodes is really good. Anyway.
Well, this is a weird thing that I happened to notice. Gohan's face, drawn sharply. Gohan's face is drawn like Dragon Ball Z. Did you notice that Goten's face is drawn like Goku's face in Dragon Ball? It's
a little rounder.
Round edges and stuff. And I don't know if that's to show youth.
They mention it enough that I think it's a callback to the old Goku character design.
It's interesting. I think that Toriyama just got good at art. Like, not that he was bad before, but I think like he really... This is where he's
improved,
This is where he's getting. And so we have a little cut to King Kai Grandpa. Apparently that whole thing is canon. Because I
know. How weird was that? We cut to Grand Kai's planet.
Yeah. And so Baba just knows everybody in Otherworld. And this is where Baba's trying to convince Grand Kai, the old grandpa rockin' one, to let Goku go back. And eventually she does. Like, this is not a very important scene. So
the only thing that I really like about it is King Kai mentioned specifically that Goku's been more focused since he found out about the opportunity to go back to Earth.
That's true.
Like, he wants to go back and see everybody as much as they want to see him. Again, bulldozer. Once he understands that there's a possibility there, he'll go for it, but he won't go out of his way to look.
That is a great term for Goku. He's a bulldozer. It's perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, so we come across this scene that is, again, it's Gohan and Goten. And Gohan is powering up. He's ready to train. The music,
swells.
It swells. It zooms in on him. He's going to do some badass move, knock over some mountains and train. And then it cuts to Goten. And he's like, Gohan, I found a bug. It's so cool. And Gohan's like, come on, Goten, I got to train. Then it does the same scene again. He's powering up. He's ready to do a cool move. The music swells up. And then it cuts to Goten. He's got a lizard this time. Gohan's like, come on, man. I got to do this. And then it cuts to Gohan again, swells up. And the third time, it almost follows through. And then it cuts to Goten, and he's hugging this tail that is 3 times as thick as he is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a T-Rex.
Gigantic
tail.
Dinosaur. Huge monster.
Which the T-Rex seems very amused.
Yeah. I liked the T-Rex's face. Doesn't look fierce at all. The T-Rex is more like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And then it cuts to Gohan actually following through with his training, looking at Goten, and Goten just kind of sitting there, doing
bored.
nothing, looking sad. He's bored.
Sad.
And Gohan's like, hey man, you wanna help me out? Like, he notices what his brother's going through, so he kind of involves him, brings him into the routine. They play a little game, which is Goten's gonna throw rocks at his brother from a certain distance, and Gohan's going to dodge him. Goten throws a rock, and it's like a fucking bullet.
Yes, and it surprises the hell out of Gohan.
Yeah.
Gohan's like, whoa, I wasn't ready.
This was a cool way to introduce Goten's strength, I think. Because I wasn't expecting it, and Gohan wasn't expecting it. So you get to experience that along with him, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Goten says the mysterious sentence.
Oh, this is my favorite.
Because Gohan's been Super Saiyan, right? And Goten says, hey, since Mom's not around, is it okay if I be like you now with the blonde hair and everything? And Gohan's like, no, that's Super Saiyan. I had to go through like years of training and everything. I was the youngest Super Saiyan ever, so I don't think you're quite. And then Goten just fucking goes Super Saiyan.
He just goes.
We find out that he could do it for as long as he can remember. Like, he can't remember a time where he wasn't able to do it. And Gohan is like as shocked as we are.
Yeah, that's what sells it. Because normally I'd be like, what the fuck? I'd be bothered. But because the reactions are exactly what the audience's reactions are, which is, this shouldn't be possible. What is happening? And so that makes it work.
Dragon Ball Z has a problem with power scaling. This is technically an example of that, but like, it introduces an interesting plot element because the characters are so confused by it.
Yes.
Like, there is a reason, we just don't know what that is. And it doesn't matter if they answer the question. The fact that it's mysterious is enough to get us on their side.
I think we also decided that this is Dragon Ball, as far as power scaling goes, this is Dragon Ball Reset. So through this scene, just need to understand that Super Saiyan means extra strong. That's it. That's it. That don't like make it more complicated than it has to be. Just know that if a character can become Super Saiyan, then they can become extra strong. They can step up to a big fight if they have to.
But can I just make it extra complicated for a second?
Yeah, absolutely can.
It's got to be genetic. It's got to be an inherited strength. And the stronger Goku gets, he's able to pass that on through genetics. So Gohan was stronger than Goku. Everybody knows that. And then he got even stronger. Goten was conceived. And so Goten inherits part of that power. That's the only explanation that I can think of that makes any of this make sense.
But it makes perfect sense if you look at it through that lens. Like, I think
even like this, the Saiyan race inheriting the power of their descendants makes sense, because the Saiyans just got more powerful and more powerful as the lineage went on. So I think it works canon wise, even though it's not explained, which I appreciate actually.
Yeah, see, it lets us fill in the blanks with something that we enjoy that makes sense. I like stories that do that, like Dark Souls kind of stories where there is some lore, but there's a lot of blank spots and you just have to bridge that gap yourself.
Don't shove it down our throat. Just make it like follow rules. We'll figure out what the rules are.
So I think someone in our Discord actually talked about this too, which I joined our Discord. People are really cool and they talk about Dragon Ball Z all the time.
What is it? Discord.io/EHDBZ?
Nope, it's Eric Hates DBZ. It's Discord.io
Discord.io/Eric Hates DBZ. So
we learned how the backstory of Goten. Like, there's not a whole lot.
Yeah, so Goten explains. No, but it's great. Goten explains how he originally went Super Saiyan, and he explains that Chi-Chi has been sparring with Goten for years now.
Yeah,
Gohan is very surprised by this revelation because Chi-Chi never sparred with Gohan. Again, the fact that Gohan is surprised makes it okay, because the Chi-Chi that we know would never have done this, but also the Chi-Chi that we know originally was a fighter, so it does make enough sense.
Yeah, the Chi-Chi that exists in this story, Goku's dead. And that affects Chi-Chi massively in how she looks at things. And Goten is a tiny little Goku. She is much more in line with Goku's mindset on how fighting works. Before, she seemed extraordinarily opposed to all fighting at all. Oh, I just can't talk right now. She really disliked any sort of conflict, except when it was her screaming at Goku. Now she's gone totally the other way. I just super appreciate that they've decided to lean into that aspect of Chi-Chi's original character.
Not only does it allow them to reset and kind of hone in on what makes the characters lovable in the first place, but there's a in-universe reason for the change, which is Goku's death. 7 years have passed.
Yeah.
And it obviously has affected this family more than a lot of the other characters in DBZ because, Goku was the father figure. Goten is sparring with Chi-Chi in this flashback, and Goten just kind of wants to get a hit in, and so goes Super Saiyan without really knowing what it is. Chi-Chi sort of breaks down, and she's like, oh no, not another monster in the family.
Immediately after that, Gohan sees Videl's helicopter and is like, oh shit, I forgot I told her I was going to teach her how to fly too.
Oh, because Goten can't fly. That's important.
That is important. Oh, okay. Jesus, there's so many things. Goten talks about how his mom called him a little monster as a Super Saiyan. And then Gohan's like, yeah, we can have a real fight, and starts flying up. And Goten says, no. Don't fly. That's cheating. I can't do that. I can't fly. If I could fly, I'd be up there kicking your ass. And Gohan says, whoa, you can't fly? You're more like a super pedestrian than a Super Saiyan, which is just such a fucking funny burn. And I think Goten is offended by it and just gets sad. Like, what? Come on.
Gohan equates it to running before you can crawl.
Yeah, which is true.
But again, the fact that they're acknowledging it in universe goes a long way toward the audience accepting this happening.
Yes, making it very believable.
Coincidentally, Videl's helicopter flies by, and Gohan's like, oh yeah, I was going to teach both you guys how to fly. I'll go get her really quick.
That's when Gohan leads down to Goten and says, hey, but we got to hide the Super Saiyan thing. Goten says, oh, yes. Is she afraid of monsters? And it's like a cute little moment between the brothers because they're joking.
Yeah, it's not traumatizing. They're joking, and Goten is like accepting that being called a monster is like a little kid would. It's nice. Yeah, it's really good.
So Videl lands at Gohan's house, and this is one of my favorite fucking scenes.
It's really good.
So Videl lands and knocks on the door and talks to Chi-Chi and says, hey, is Gohan home? Well, who are you? Why are you asking for my son? You want to marry my son? Is that what you're trying to do? That's what Chi-Chi sounds like in this scene.
It's essentially that, and yeah.
Videl stops. He's like, whoa. I don't want to, nothing about, he is going to do a thing for me, okay? And Gohan arrives, kind of breaks it up, says, hey, mom, chill out. I'm going to teach her how to fly. Mom's like, no. You got to learn how to fight stuff because you got to win me money, son. And Gohan says, whoa, Videl's the person who told me to enter the tournament in the first place, so I'm going to go help her. Chi-Chi says, I guess that's acceptable. Just kind of snidely, you better not do something lewd to my son. And Videl snaps and is like, what the fuck are you talking? And Chi-Chi gets in Videl's face. What the fuck are you talking about? And they just start screaming at each other. And Chi-Chi's like, you're not using this as an excuse to marry my son, are you? You little son of a... And Videl is screaming at Chi-Chi. It's amazing. It's a wonderful little back and forth scene. I didn't do it justice because I made them all talk like this. But
it's hilarious, and it perfectly sets up that these characters are like can go head to head with each other. Like there are commonalities between Chi-Chi and Videl. Finally, somebody that can stand up to Chi-Chi
in the way that Chi-Chi stands up to everyone else.
Parallel,
not a counter.
Yeah. So Videl says, like, we're fighting in the tournament, not eloping. The two don't mix. And then Goten's like, well, my mom got married at the tournament, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And
Goten's little...
Chi-Chi's like, oh, yeah, that's right. I did get married at the last tournament that I beat your father at. And the narrator comes in and says, it's the mother of all catfights. As we prepare for the tournament, this is 1 month away. Next time on Dragon Ball Z. It's great. So episode 207, the Japanese titles, You're Flying. Videl's introduction to Bukujitsu. The American title is Take Flight, Videl.
Yeah, that's what they call that technique, the ability to fly. My episode title is Super Saiyan Bargain Sale.
Also very good.
I saw that in the games in Xenoverse. It shows up a couple of times as like a challenge thing. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? It's a line.
There are so many scenes in this episode. And again, basically nothing happens. There's like no conflict, no villain or whatever. But it contains some of my favorite scenes, maybe in the entire show. But it only works. It only becomes my favorite because there's so much past experience with these characters and getting to know them and stuff. We're in a very lived-in universe now. Mm-hmm. It's not something that I experience with a lot of different shows.
We built the foundation for everything. We built the scenery, we built the backdrop. We have the characters, and now they just get to flourish on stage. That's what's happening.
Yeah, it's great.
It's amazing.
So we opened this episode with Videl and Goten and Gohan. Gohan is explaining how to fly. This would have made a fantastic first episode. It's basically a reintroduction into Dragon Ball Z as a concept, and we have something that we did not have at the beginning of the last show, which is an audience surrogate character in the form of Videl. Videl is a regular ass human. She cannot fly. She can't use energy. And so she's asking all the questions that we have been wanting to ask forever. Unfortunately, Gohan is the one that's providing these answers. And while well-studied and an intellectual, he just doesn't know enough to be able to provide the concrete answers that Videl is looking for.
He's also an awkward nerd.
Yeah, he's also an awkward nerd in front of a pretty girl. So he's like, okay, so to fly, you just take your energy and you kind of push it underneath you, and that propels you and holds you up, which is cool because we're finally getting an explanation as longtime viewers of the show of how some of this shit works in the mind of the creators of the show.
Yeah.
Which is not something we get a lot of. So I'm relishing every second of this.
Yes.
Videl is like, what the hell are you talking about? And Gohan's like, your energy, your ki. She's like, yeah, that's not a thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no.
Goten fires an energy blast and blows up a rock. Like this thing.
He's just like, it's this.
And Videl's just standing there as you would expect. Like, what the fuck just happened? That was too fast. I don't know what you just did. And Gohan's like, wait, you must call it something different then. Like, what do you call that? And Videl says, well, those are tricks. And this is where you learn that Videl's connection to what actually happened in the Cell games and everything is through everything her dad has said. That's what everyone's connection is just Hercule's explanation, which is it's all tricks. That's when Gohan puts his hands out. He's like, no. Let me show you. And that's when he gives the best lesson on what energy is that this show probably has ever.
I'm paraphrasing, so it's not as good, but he basically sits down and Videl sits down across from him. He puts his hand together and he's like, it's this feeling in your gut. As you learn to sense it, you can direct it. And then you just kind of wait for it to feel like a pull. And then you push it out and it comes out like this. And then in between two of his hands, there's a little ball of energy that forms. And this quells the debate, if there ever was a huge one, whether or not the energy is visible, because Videl instantly reacts to seeing this thing between Gohan's hands. Mm-hmm. I like this because Videl learns that there is a whole other tier. There's this whole other world. There's this whole other level of, call it whatever you want, martial arts, superpowers, magic to the world that she was not aware of and was not prepared for. And she kind of like tears up a little bit.
Gohan tries to get her to do it, and she puts her hands up. She's trying. She's really concentrating. Gohan's like, no, you got to relax. You're never going to be able to do it. And she doesn't relax, and she's really trying. And this scene is like 3.5, 4 minutes long. Every second of it is amazing. It's the complete fucking opposite of the beginning of the show, where they had long scenes where people just said things and just did things and it amounted to nothing. This one, they do so little, and what they say has such impact. What they're creating, this little world, this space, this entertainment medium, they've got it down. They figured it out because it feels perfect. This 4 minutes feels like an eternity, and you want it to last for that eternity because you enjoy the feeling that's giving you.
It's a great scene. Like, there are so many shows that I watch personally, live action, probably not anime, where it literally is just two people talking, and they're not saying a lot. And there's a lot of like reaction shots, and there's a lot of like walking around. It's quiet, it's small, it's contained, it's just two people. Dragon Ball Z doesn't do that. And so to have this scene in this episode that is that, and it works so well about a concept that has been in the show for a while but has never been properly explained. It's so like cathartic and needed and appreciated. I feel like it gets a lot of points from me personally, even though it waited this long to do it. At the very least, it's doing it now, but it's doing it right. And I don't think that the show was capable of doing this kind of scene correctly when it first came out.
Yeah, that's what I mean by they've rounded their edges. Like they've figured out exactly how to make this as good as they possibly can, I think. And Videl just cannot get the energy to happen. And she looks up with these tears in her eyes and says, I have to learn. Since having her eyes opened to this thing existing, she's like, I need it. It explains so much about her character. I fucking love Videl.
I think her character maybe is the best, up to this point, is the best established and built character since Vegeta Piccolo, like that sort of character building.
Yeah.
But they took so long to get to the point where they grew. This is happening faster, but way better paced. Like,
yes.
And not a lot of characters in this show have gotten this treatment.
You know, when NASA shoots a rocket up into space, I don't think they do this so much anymore because rockets are good now. But back then they had two giant orange thrusters to get it out of Earth's atmosphere. And then the space shuttle itself also had additional thrusters, which allowed it to navigate in the vacuum of space. Those gigantic thrusters, when they're done, just plummet to the Earth and hit the ground, usually the ocean. That's what the first 200 episodes were. The gigantic rocket thrusters that get us into the void, and we're just on shuttle power. We're there. We made it.
It's an actually surprisingly good analogy.
Hey, sometimes I'm on with those. A lot of other times it's like putting popcorn, whatever the fuck I'm saying.
Anyway, we have this beautiful little lunch scene.
Look, we need to just stop
Videl,
saying
Goten,
we have this wonderful scene, or I love this scene, because they're all good.
But it develops Videl's character and Chi-Chi's character even more. Videl's like, oh man, this food is so good. I need to give this recipe to my cook. And Chi-Chi's like, what? You have a cook? And they go back and forth about how Videl's rich. Essentially, that's the conversation.
They're just having a normal kind of back and forth about their money and their lives. And then Gohan says something like, yeah, her dad is Hercule. And Chi-Chi, out of nowhere, just kind of barks, and you're planning to marry this girl?
Gohan does the spit take of all spit takes right in Goten's little face.
Yeah. I'm not planning anything, Mom. Why is everybody fucking talking about that? Like, it's played perfectly like awkward teenagers. And Videl, for maybe the first time since we've seen Videl, doesn't react with severe intensity. Have you noticed in these episodes, whenever Videl is looking at Gohan, her eyes, very open, very wide, they are able to visually communicate the interest that Videl has in Gohan. But now there's something else. Now it's a little bit of something else. And it's so well communicated that they don't need to say a damn thing. Goten is trying to catch a frog because he's bored after lunch. And in the background of that, Videl is sitting there attempting to harness energy still. and she's actually getting it. You can tell because the light is darkening around where her hands are. She does it after a period of time, and I'm very twofold on this. On the one hand, you see her actually get happy for the first time ever. And she looks so up at Gohan like, I can do it. And Gohan looks down at her like, yeah, you did it. And it's so heartfelt. This is where I teared up. On the other hand, this makes no fucking sense at all. If you look back at the other 200 episodes of the show, and in like, what, 6 hours, she can just do this now?
Yeah, there's a couple things. A, I agree with you. B, it does feel like a longer time because the show is slowing down the pace considerably.
Yeah.
I know it's just a few hours later because they state it later, but this could have easily been a week later and I wouldn't have batted an eye. It stretches out the training to make you feel like she's actually earned it when it happens. See, Gohan mentions this, I think, later in this episode, that Videl has spent her entire life training martial arts and maybe it was a tad easier for her to like get it. D, she's not there yet. She has the spark plugs going, but the engine's not quite started yet, and it's going to take her a little more time to get there.
That was quite a few letters. You just kept going.
I don't know if I even kept track of what was next. Yeah.
Well, at least you didn't go A, 2, part 3,
Roman numeral 4. Yeah. So anyway,
Epsilon.
They cut back to Otherworld for a sec. Goku's training with these massive, comically large training weights around his ankles and his wrists.
Yeah.
2 tons each. South Kai shows up again. He's like, hey, I got a new
fighter
slave. I don't know. Like,
I don't think that's what they're called.
I've got a new Pycon. His name is Papoy. He can beat Goku. King Kai's like, yeah, okay, well, have him come down to this martial arts tournament. Hey, Goku, you should put those 2-ton weights and turn up the volume on them and make them 10-ton weights each. And Goku's like, I don't know, that seems a little extreme. And King is like, do it, bitch. And Goku's like, all right. He does. And then he turns Super Saiyan. And he's like, he's just fine. And South Kai's like, oh, crap. Goku's really strong still. I got to go. And then he leaves. And then that's it.
That's the whole scene. Yeah. My next note is literally back to shit I care about. So Gohan is saying time to fly to Goten and Videl. And we get to see a panning shot of them trying to fly. And Goten is just kind of jumping up and down, bouncing like a little kid would. And Videl is standing straight up, like trying really hard.
And just concentrating like,
Gohan's like, no. You got to feel the energy. You got to feel the energy around you. Push it around your body and let it take you into the air. Goten concentrates and he starts floating. And it's like an awkward float, but he's just learning. And Videl is standing there with tears in her eyes like, how the fuck did this fucking little fucking kid fucking learn this fucking shit before I fucking did? Sorry, Aoku, for that one. Sorry, Jeremy, specifically. Videl cannot get it. And Gohan takes his attention to Goten because he's surprised. He's like, yeah, way to go, Goten, you're doing it. Goten's like, yeah, I'm really trying. Videl screams out, hey! And Goten's like, oh, shit. Okay, all right. Runs over to where Videl is and really starts trying to help her.
Gohan's like, oh, maybe we could pick this up tomorrow. Your dad's probably worried about you. And Videl's like, I'm not moving an inch unless it's through the air.
Good.
And then Videl does. She floats just a tiny little bit and then falls back down. And it does. It feels like an actual achievement, even with Goten, flying around expertly above their heads saying, a birdie, Goten's a birdie.
Oh my God.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Videl turns to go home. She capsules her helicopter out. As she's getting in, Gohan's like, hey, Videl, it sure would be cool if you cut your hair. It's maybe the most awkward part of these entire episodes.
I am the opposite. I think this moment is a beautiful little relationship.
It's a perfect awkward teen. Yes. For who they are, the ages that there are, the characters that they are, it works wonderfully.
Yeah.
I never got the signal that was what was on Gohan's mind, but he's like, yeah, Videl, if you cut your hair, then it won't get in the way when you're fighting and all that stuff. And she's like, oh, Gohan, do you like girls with short hair?
Yeah, and she's touching her hair and blushing.
And Gohan's like, nah, I was just thinking you should cut it. And she's like, well, screw you. You don't get to tell me what to do. And then she storms off and leaves.
I feel like telling people to just watch these things because our retelling it doesn't do it justice. Like we're just two assholes.
Don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
go watch
don't.
the show.
No, yeah. And speaking of which, mid-roll shout out. This is the part of the episode where we like to thank our patrons. Don't listen to this podcast. Hey, give us money. Those wonderful patrons are Richard, Dan. Should I do last names? We talked about this last time. Richard Alanis. Nobody told me not to do last names, so I'm going to do it. I'm sorry if I said your last name wrong.
Dan Shumataya. Gotcha, Dan. Andrew
Finally got it
Winden.
right.
Artex, the creator. Tyler. How do we do it? Hayat? Hayat? Is it Hyatt?
Yeah.
Hayat! Hyatt. And finally, last but certainly not least, Spencer Feuerstein. Thank you all very much for providing us with the ability to continue to buy microphone stands. My name is John, and this has been the mid-roll shout-out. Back to what we were doing.
That was a good mid-roll shout out. So we cut back to Vegeta and Trunks training in the gravity room. Vegeta's doing his Super Saiyan thing, and Trunks is just struggling to walk. Vegeta says, "Don't worry, son, if you can't keep up with me. 150 times Earth gravity is a man's gravity level for training." And then Trunks is like, "Just hang on, let me do this." And he goes Super Saiyan.
He just does it.
And Vegeta is completely floored. Vegeta's reaction is maybe even better than Gohan's reaction.
So much better. It's wonderful. He's floored and he says, "When was it that the transformation of a legendary Saiyan warrior was reduced to a child's plaything?" It's exactly what it is now, because now
exactly what it is.
Trunks
It's
is
so
Super
good.
Saiyan. He's just doing backflips and jumping around and having fun. And Vegeta's just like, what the fuck? Like, this doesn't make any sense at all.
You sound more like Nappa than Vegeta, but
Well, the bald.
it is the bald. You're right. Vegeta's pissed, but not as pissed as Vegeta usually gets.
It's a weird combination of pissed and proud.
That only Vegeta could really pull off. So he's like, "Hey, Trunks. Hey, Super Saiyan Trunks. If you can hit me in the face
I'll take you to the park
for an hour."
for 1 hour. He's like really angry about the whole thing.
And so they square off Super Saiyan v Super Saiyan. Trunks starts trying to hit him, and Vegeta starts dodging, and he gets in a lucky hit, just a little scrape on the cheek. And Vegeta Saiyan reflexes kick in, and he punches his kid in the face like hard enough to break Trunks' nose.
Right square in the solar plexus.
Like it's a really good hit. Trunks goes flying backwards and he starts crying. He's like, "I didn't know you were going to hit me." And he's like, "I didn't say I wasn't going to hit you. Now come on. Stop crying. We got to go to the park." And then Trunks instantly perks up and they go off to the park. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like the only scene that we have seen thus far as Vegeta as a dad, and it's perfect. And then we cut back to Videl and Gohan the next day as Videl arrives for training. And Goten's like, "Who's that lady?" And it's revealed that Videl has in fact cut her hair short.
I like Videl with the long hair. Long hair Videl is perfect.
I agree.
It's representative of now she's joining the crew. She's joining this other world because now she's got the short hair with the spikiness. But I don't know. I like the longer hair. It would have been cool to see her, power up with the long hair flowing and shit like that. It's like having long hair on a motorcycle flying through. That's the perfect dream, right? Having long hair and powering up and having it go all around you. Other anime do that, and this one's just like, Now we're going to cut her hair. We're going to make it look like every other asshole.
Episode 208. The Japanese title is "Welcome Back, Goku. The entire Z team assembles." The American title is "Gather for the Tournament."
My episode title is "When the Journalists Come, Just Destroy Them."
I'm glad that you caught that quote as well. I'm starting to see why Vegeta is some people's favorite character. He didn't hit the high notes for me in the previous sagas, but if he stays this for the rest of the show, 100% I can see it.
Yeah. When we started, he was my favorite, and we're getting here, and now Videl is my favorite. I can't even make the list, but he's up there. He's really good.
So Videl can fly now, just not nearly as good as Goten can.
She's happy.
And
she's happy there. It's so nice to see Videl happy, because the last 8 episodes, she's just whatever. She's just been angry. Well, this is, oh my God. I hate that I'm saying this fucking phrase out of my mouth, but I like to see Videl smile. I do.
Aw. She's a really well-established character and has had enough emotional beats to make this payoff worth it. So Videl doesn't want her dad finding out that she's training with a boy.
That's
to learn all this stuff. She also doesn't want to show him that she can fly and that she's learning to control energy and all that stuff. It's hilarious because in this conversation with Gohan about that, she's imagining Hercule, and Hercule gets this amazing voice acted like rant. "You can't see any boys. If you're seeing boys, they better be able to beat me in a fight. And if they can beat me in a fight, then maybe we'll talk about you seeing them." And the ghost image of Hercule fades away, but the conversation keeps going and just gets, so he doesn't stop talking. It just fades out in the background, and it's hilarious.
Very Hercule. It's on point as fuck.
It's perfect.
What's extra interesting about this scene specifically is that's what Hercule wants in a boy.
for Videl. And Videl's next line is, yeah, but no boy is ever going to be as strong as my dad, because my dad killed Cell and saved the world. And she's talking to the guy that killed Cell and saved the world.
Gohan gets very excited about this. Really? What if a guy could beat your dad? Would you be mad about that? And she's like, no, I want my dad to be taken down a peg. Fame has totally ruined him. This further humanizes Videl. She likes her dad, loves her dad, obviously. Doesn't like what her dad has become since all the fame and stuff like that. Like, that's really cool.
Turns out that her mom has died. Hercule, with his fame, is just going around with every floozy that he possibly can. And
you take this joke character in Hercule, which still has some semblance of seriousness, but one of the jokes is that he always has a lady on his arm, and you turn that into a character-defining building blocks of Videl.
It's a cause and effect thing. It matters. It really does matter. The tiny little jokes become big pieces of different characters. So Videl talks about where Goku is, wants to know about Gohan's family problems, and Goten just burst out, oh yeah, my dad's dead and he's coming back to life for 24 hours. Gohan's like, dude, whoa, she just learned to fly, man. Calm down with all this shit. We have a weird little time jump after Videl identifies with Gohan's additional family problems. Like, I guess both our families are fucked up, huh, Gohan? Gohan's like, yeah. So we have a time skip 10 days later. And Videl can just fly like crazy. And it's a really, I don't know, endearing moment when she lands. She's like, I guess I'm going to go home. And she goes to pull out her capsule and she's like, oh, I guess I don't need the helicopter. I guess I can just fly home.
Yeah.
And then she just does. She flies home. After that, we get little training snippets from everybody because they're all training for the tournament now, because they're all going to get in this tournament. And I think, Spencer, you're going to get what you want out of this tournament because you wanted the Cell games to be a tournament. It wasn't. It was the Cell game.
I really did. I'm very excited for this. You see Trunks doing like 10,000 push-ups on one finger in the gravity room. Piccolo's still being a bug zapper. Krillin's trying to look good in front of his family because his daughter and his wife are watching him train. Videl is training in a regular old gym and breaks a sandbag in half, which is great. Hercule's planning on competing as well, which is hilarious because Hercule knows who Hercule is.
Yeah.
But his image is such that it's fantastic. And Goten and Gohan finally spar in this really cool, there's like this really cool wide shot, like a landscape shot of them two squaring off against each other and then jumping up into the air and then sort of circling each other. Like, it's a Dragon Ball Z fight scene, but it's from one shot and it doesn't cut. And it's really neat. Then we cut and find out that Goten is really nervous to meet his father for the first time, which is just adorable.
Understandable.
Cut to Otherworld where King Kai is like, hey, Goku's done training. We just got to wait till the tournament. And Goku is meditating on a mountain.
This was the weirdest zoom in the world. Did you notice this? It's like it zooms towards two mountains, and then as the camera gets closer, another mountain appears behind, and then the front mountain jumps to become a third. Like, it's not a good zoom. It's a bad shot. It's
it's not great, and it's fine because we're not there for very long.
Yeah, it's like 2 seconds.
And then we cut to the actual day of the tournament where there's a Capsule Corp vehicle flying through the air.
Oh, the Sky Bus.
Yeah, the Sky Bus is back. Vegeta's like, I've ridden galactic slugs faster than this vehicle. It's everybody. Everybody's crammed into this Airbus.
Gohan, Krillin, Vegeta, Bulma, Goten, Yamcha, Chi-Chi, the Ox King, 18. Marin? Is that her name?
Marin. Yep.
It's the whole gang, minus Tien, because finally they realized how useless Tien was as a character, and it was dead
not
weight
only
to have
Tien. They do say that Tien and Chaozu are not participating in the tournament, so they're not even showing up. It turns out Yamcha has also given up fighting in the years, but he's going to see the tournament just to be a spectator.
Yeah.
That's actually good character growth for Yamcha. Like, good.
He's
good
not acting like an asshole, which is character development.
Gohan says to the Saiyans in the Airbus, hey, I've been thinking maybe we shouldn't do the Super Saiyan thing during the tournament.
Yeah.
It's just going to draw too much attention, and
people recognize us from the Cell games.
Bulma's like, yeah, I totally agree. We don't need that. Bulma's weirdly like introverted in this episode. She's like, I don't like crowds. I don't want reporters around my house. A lot less attention seeking than I expected her to be.
It makes sense to me because she is now balls deep in Capsule Corporation. I had no better way to say that. I just didn't. And she is leading development. I haven't seen Dr. Briefs once. So it seems like she is doing all kinds of development. And because Capsule Corp is huge, she's probably a little more reclusive. Like, everybody just needs to fuck off. Nobody talk to me.
Yeah.
Because she's semi-famous, but not fully famous. She's like Elon Musk's second in command kind of situation.
So Vegeta is like, oh, when the journalists come, I'll just destroy them.
Yeah.
But he's like, fine. No Super Saiyan. I can agree to that. And everybody kind of agrees.
there's an island where this thing is occurring, the tournament.
Yes.
And they all arrive on the island and they see the sights. There's little stands. There's like cotton candy.
It's like a fair.
And yeah, they remark it's like a fair. And then Mr. Satan arrives. Huge fanfare for Mr. Satan. Big crowds and cameras. They all get around and they start interviewing Mr. Satan as he walks off the Airbus. And he says some Mr. Satan shit. I'm the best. Whatever. And Videl comes down and is next to her dad and smiling. They're both being interviewed by about 1,000 journalists at the same time. So the only line that I picked up was somebody asking Videl, what are you going to do if you have to fight your dad? And Videl says, I don't know, punch. So great. The gang is walking along like, I wonder if Goku's here. And somebody says, well, I sent somebody else we know. I think it was Master Roshi. Is that why I said that in that voice?
I think Master Roshi does say it. And it's Krillin. I'm sorry, it's Piccolo.
Piccolo's there in the
under
shade.
a tree.
In the shade is drawn really well because, of course, it's Piccolo. He's like, Piccolo's character has become fully defined now. He's the off to the side cool guy who doesn't say much and meditates a whole lot and definitely hanging out in the shade. And they go and talk to Piccolo, and it's a nice reunion. It's the whole gang all back together. And it's been built up really well to where it feels good that the gang is together and there's no imminent threat and they're just having a good time at a fair. And then I want to ask you how you feel about this next part.
Yeah, Goku arrives. I thought this was the part where you were going to tear up because Goku gets there and everybody's very excited. And it kind of cuts to every single person in the group reacting to Goku being there.
Mm-hmm.
Krillin, Gohan, Chi-Chi, Bulma, whatever, are like tears in their eyes, super happy to see their friend that died 7 years ago, husband, whatever. Vegeta, 18, people that don't know him as well are just sort of there,
Old
like
enemies.
just reacting like, okay, yeah, this is a guy, which I thought was a beautiful addition. I thought that was very funny. Traditionally in this show, whenever Goku shows up, everybody's like, Goku's here, yay. It's been so long and we've seen enough of what they're going through without Goku that at this point, I'm kind of on board for their reaction. It feels earned, at least more earned than it has in the past. But the part that really sells the scene for me is Chi-Chi and Goku exchange a simple little, it's really good to see you. It's good to see you too. Like a nice little husband-wife kind of exchange that makes me think they actually care about each other. And that's sold really well through the voice acting.
And the
Goku
art.
looks down.
Sorry, I got to throw that in. The art for this part is they cared.
It's really good.
They gave a shit. They cared.
And then Goku looks down and hiding behind Chi-Chi's dress is Goten. And like he's just peeking out. And Goku's like, oh, hey, I think there's a little me behind there.
Mm-hmm.
And Goku gets to meet his son for the first time. Goten's really standoffish at first, and Goku's like really good with kids because he's basically a kid.
Kid in an adult body, yeah.
And so he approaches him and he's like, hey, how you doing? And Goten's really standoffish and then, just suddenly decides to screw it and jumps into his dad's arms.
His daddy and jumps in, and it's really, really super.
They sure hug. That's the part where I didn't tear up, but I was as close as I was during these 5 episodes. It was a really well done moment. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that was the one part that I cared about. The rest of it, I'm going to be honest, I'm so fucking sick of Goku being the hero of the show. I'm sick of pretending like I give a shit about what Goku does because Goku is the opposite of what I like about this show. What I like about this show is watching the evolution of these characters and their lives. Goku is not that. Goku is the guy who shows up and kills the bad guy every time and never fucking changes. And so for Goku to come back and everybody to react like that, I understood why it existed, and I think it is a beautiful scene if you like Goku. There. That's my piece. I got to put that out there.
I don't disagree, but the cap of Goten.
Yes.
Goten getting some growth and payoff there.
Did enjoy that part.
It made it worth it for me. So everybody gets signed up for the tournament. Goku has 24 hours before he has to go back to Otherworld, which, like, knowing what comes, I don't even know how they deal with that, man.
I'm also very curious because I don't remember. I don't know a lot about this arc at all.
That's exciting.
So this is all new for me. And so they go to the registration desk.
That's pretty much it. The only thing I want to note is that Goku seems at least tangentially supportive of Gohan's outfit. He doesn't outright criticize it, which is just a nice little father-son moment. And Goten and Trunks are put into the junior division, which makes a ton of sense. And I'm so glad that they did that because I was like, why are they letting kids into this tournament? I know that the kids are powerful. They could beat them, but it just doesn't make any sense. And the show acknowledges that and puts them in the junior division.
Yep.
And they complain about it, but it's perfect.
Trunks like, no, put me with the adults. And the guy in charge guy is like, no, we can't do that. I'll get fired. No.
There are rules. Yeah. Episode 209, Japanese title is Watch Out, Saiyaman, Beware of Sharpshooters. The American title is Camera Shy.
Is sharpshooters a term for people that take pictures?
Don't know. That's the title.
My episode title is the one where I'm dead, just back for a day.
So I really like parts of this episode. I think that the B story with Gohan and Sharpner, this sort of extracurricular character from the high school parts, is fine. It's just fine. I don't know.
It depends on how much you dislike that character and how much you appreciate that character becoming an antagonist. Because I appreciated it more than I thought I would. Every cut
I
to
liked
it was
the stuff
good.
between using it as a facilitator to get to more Gohan Videl moments, which it does.
Yeah.
Is great. But like, I just felt like there were the scenes outside of that developed the characters and had them interacting in a way that I was really entertained by. And so whenever this guy came on screen, I'm like, he doesn't really matter. I just want to get back to the other stuff. So we get to see a few of the other people in the tournament. There are people from Hercule's gym. There are random competitors. There are people performing, being interviewed by journalists and things. The tournament is a very big deal. Videl looks for Gohan and runs into Sharpner, the really long blonde hair guy from the high school. And he's dressed in a suit and he has a bouquet of roses and a camera.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I'm gonna get you, Videl. I'm here to snap pictures and give you flowers.
And he says it really creepily, like, I'm going to take
super
pictures
weird
of you, and tries to hand her the roses. Like it comes across as incredibly creepy, which is good because at this moment, this character becomes a serious antagonist.
For sure. And Videl's like, yeah, whatever, fuckface, I'm leaving. And then for some reason, mullet hair guy is surrounded by children.
They like his camera. I don't know.
And then it cuts to Goku as he's regaling Piccolo and Krillin about the Otherworld tournament, as Trunks and Goten talk about like, hey, your dad's back. That's cool. Which I just loved. And Goku tells Krillin, hey, you're not bald anymore. Did you know that? And Krillin's like, yeah.
Did you notice?
I've always been able to grow hair, Goku. I just kept it well waxed. And Goku's like, well, it's weird. I don't like it. It's weird.
Yeah, I agree. It is weird. It's like grass. Looks like lawn.
It's very unkempt, but it's a physical
depiction of age.
It's a physical depiction of change within Krillin.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, he looks dumb now.
That's the thing, is he looks better bald, but he has more confidence with hair.
Might be because he's married and has a kid, though.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. But like, we've only ever seen him with hair while he's been.
Oh, okay. So he has the confidence to be able to pull off the hair in his own head.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I can.
Like, I don't think it looks the best, but like, it's never annoyed me because he's just like,
yeah,
he
I get
owns it. You know.
And to be fair, I don't dislike Krillin in these episodes at all. I think he's perfectly played as Krillin.
Yeah, everybody in this arc is perfectly played as themselves. And Krillin is no exception. I think he's way better as a married person. He has a lot of one-liners and zingers and stuff.
They're not even bad.
He hates Hercule, and he's a good family man. Like, he wants to make his daughter proud. He seems to be a good husband, and 18 seems to be jiving with him. Like, they seem to have a good relationship.
So after we catch up with Krillin and Goku, Videl finds Gohan eventually.
You've skipped the whole part where Goku finds out that 18 is Krillin's wife.
Oh, I did. That's true, because Goku didn't know. So yeah, go ahead and do that.
And he's like, hey, 18's here. Dachshund, we've got Dachshund here. And nobody cares. It's freaking hilarious. Goku's like, what? How did you marry? How do they have kids?
You know, she's a robot.
This is where we get confirmation. Krillin says, you know, she wasn't always a robot. She was turned into that by Jiro, but she actually was born a human. So this is confirmation that 18 used to be human. I don't think we got official before then.
I just want to know where 17 is.
It's weird that we haven't heard about him or seen him.
Well, I mean, part of me is
because
okay
he's still
with
alive and he's still out there.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm also okay with it.
Like, there's a mystery there, and it helps detract from the Dragon Ball Z problem that they have so often, which is too many cast members and everyone needs a moment. I've noticed in this episode they have everyone. And every character has their own little moment, but they don't dwell. They don't force it. It seems natural every time it cuts to a character having a moment. It's very good.
Yeah.
It's very, very well defined. So Goku's confused about the robot thing and then gets confirmation and then eventually says, well, I guess congratulations, but he doesn't really mean it. He's still Goku and confused. So Videl ends up finding Gokatan. There, that's a combination of all three. Gokatan. Videl finds Gohan and shows Gohan how fast she is at flying. They have this really adorable little moment where they're just flying over the tournament together.
That was they go on this magic carpet ride.
And I I ship the fuck out of this. I've never said
It's
that
really
phrase
good.
in my entire life because it's very nerdy, and apparently I'm trying to deny the fact that I'm a giant nerd. But I
it's
love
the
it.
best, the most accurately depicted relationship in all of Dragon Ball Z.
Weird because again, we know it's Dragon Ball Z, so like the rules of how that world functions are surrounding everything, and inside of it, they're just painting this beautiful flowering romance. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it other than I love what they've done with it.
Obviously, you don't see too much of it with Chi-Chi and Goku.
Yeah.
You see none of it with Vegeta and Bulma.
Mm-hmm.
Krillin and 18, you see the beginning of it, which
Mhm.
aside from the creep factor, like after that scene, I think it's really good with 18 being like, stop following me. I didn't ask for this, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you see the end result, which is them married, but you don't see the in-between. And that's the good stuff.
That's the good stuff.
That's the stuff that can make a story. And so you're getting to see the in-between with Gohan and Videl, which is really awesome.
Yes, it's beautiful. So they land somewhere after flying a little bit, and Videl's actually kind of smiling, but Gohan's going faster than her, and she's competitive, so she gets a little rare. They land somewhere on a roof, and out of nowhere, up the stairs, comes douchebag mullet McFucker with the flowers. He's like, aha! I brought you flower. Who the fuck is that? And points at Gohan, because Gohan is in Saiyaman disguise, his new one,
costume,
just the sunglasses and then the headband. And Saiyaman doesn't say anything. Videl goes, "Oh, that's the great Saiyaman." And Sharpner says, "Well, you two are getting awful friendly, huh?" She's like, "What are you, jealous, bitch?" And Sharpner's like, no, just And Videl grabs Gohan's hand and walks out with Gohan, and Gohan gets red in the face. It's this wonderful shoving a rejection in the face of a character I hate and two characters that I love budding their romance together, having their romance come together. It's so good. It's like peanut butter and jelly, baby. It's so good. So Sharpner decides, I will find out who you are. So now we got a new person trying to figure out who Saiyaman is. I understand what you're saying because I wouldn't call it hackneyed. I wouldn't go that far.
No, it's not terrible. It's just like I care about the other stuff way more.
Yeah,
but you get scenes like Videl grabbing Gohan's hand, and that's really nice.
Yeah.
So.
Did you notice in this next scene there's a lady doing interviews. Her voice is a masculine voice that they in post have sped up, and it sounds a little chipmunky. Did you notice?
Oh,
that?
really?
Yes,
I didn't.
You can tell by the timbre, by the format.
Yeah.
You can tell that it's just sped up. So it is a more masculine character doing a voice like this. And then they modify it. So it sounds like this. In post, we'll change that. The magic of audio editing. Whoa.
That's really good. I can't wait to hear that. So there's this reporter doing interviews with all this stuff, and she's like, man, I'm so sick of brown nosing. Oh, crap, here comes more contestants.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, could you tell us where you're from? What are you doing? And it's Piccolo and Vegeta, and they don't even acknowledge.
They just walk
the news
by.
crew. They
Which
just
is perfect.
walk on by.
So good.
The reporter says they look familiar, which is sort of like a hint and a nod to, hey, these are the people that technically won the Cell games.
It's Goku there, yeah.
The reporter flags down Goku and says, hey, who are you? And Goku's like, oh, no, I'm dead. I'm just back for the day. And the camera guy spots Goku's halo. And like, as this horrible thing that is about to change the perception of every human being on planet Earth's reality is happening, Piccolo just glances over and his pupils flash and the camera explodes, causing the perfect distraction and unveiling a new superpower that we had no idea that Piccolo had. And everybody suits up in the locker room, which is also great.
Nice locker room.
I don't know
scene.
why. Like, it's so normal. I think that's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
It's like they're getting ready to go to the gym and everybody's just having these little conversations and getting dressed and whatever.
Well, that's what it is. It's because we're going through the steps. We're going from A to B to C, and every single one matters.
Krillin gets one of the best lines in here as he says, I just want to know which one of us gets to fight Mr. Satan. Because he knows that no matter who it is, even if it's him, Mr. Satan's going to fucking lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Like I'm so excited because I don't remember. I want to know who fights.
I remember, and I'm not going to spoil anything, so we'll see.
Piccolo's waiting for everybody else and gets flagged down by a couple other people who are like, "Hey, what's wrong with you, dude? You're looking a tad green." For as many anthropomorphic people as there are in this city, in this world, it is funny that they
pick out Piccolo. And didn't like the Namekians fucking live on Earth for a year?
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And Piccolo was at the last world tournament, or his dad at least. And so they've seen life form similar to his
It
before
just
in a
calls
public setting.
It calls into question how information is disseminated in the Dragon Ball Z universe, because it's all through if it is all through TVZ, that one singular channel, then it makes sense why they don't know shit.
So everybody comes out of the locker room into this space where all of the competitors who have signed up to compete in this tournament are sort of just lounging or training or whatever.
They're on the tournament grounds themselves, aren't they?
It's the tournament grounds, yeah. And they meet the world tournament announcer from Dragon Ball. I am pretty sure that's who it is. And it sounds like Eric Vale, so I think it's the world tournament announcer.
I wondered if it's an aged up Johnny Firecracker.
That's what I thought too. That's what I originally wrote, but the voice is so different.
I don't know. Based off of what he says to the gang, I have a good feeling that y'all were the ones that killed Cell. That leads me to believe it might be Firecrackerman.
He does say that, but he also says he recognizes specifically Goku, Piccolo, and Krillin.
That's true.
And he says, "Oh, you guys are back in this tournament too.
Yeah.
I hope you're not going to blow the place to smithereens this time,
is that
or whatever."
Same character?
So that they meet the reporter that looks like Jimmy Firecracker, but also is just the world tournament announcer without a name. And he's like, "Okay, I'll see you guys there." And he kind of walks off. And then Hercule shows up to much fanfare. And he's like, "Ho ho! Line up for autographs over here. The first 50 you don't even have to pay for."
He's in full showmanship mode.
And then we do this little tiny B plot where Shrapnel...
That's a good name.
Yeah. Where Shrapnel jumps from the rooftops. He's like, "I'm going to get you," to the ground where he sees Gohan. Gohan bends over to pick up Captain Ginyu, who makes a cameo in frog form.
So weird, yeah.
And Shrapnel just hits the floor.
Yeah,
this is cartoonishly
hits his face into the ground. And I'm glad, that this this show has chosen to go full Looney Tunes. Because I remember we complained about it a while back that it was afraid to go full Looney Tunes. It's doing it now. It's great. Yep. It's fantastic. So we learn in the tournament, there's a ton of people on this floor. And there's 194 entrants in the tournament, but there's only 15 available slots because Mr. Satan has automatically been enrolled because he is the champion of the last tournament.
Champion from last time. Yeah.
So we get another little fucking B plot thing where Sharpner's giving some kids a squirt gun and like telling the kids to help him unmask Saiyan. I think you're right that these moments were played a little long. If they were cut shorter, if he was just like, "Here, help me," and then it goes to the next scene.
I honestly think it would be better if he just didn't have any dialogue and there was just like it just was happening in the background.
Ooh.
Like you could see it if you were looking for it, but it wasn't necessary because it just
it
interrupts the flow. And like I'm excited. They're going to the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
They're all together again. They're coming to the training grounds. Like I want to follow that plot and see them.
It's breaking the flow.
Build up to the tournament.
Yeah,
I think it'd be funny to see the dude like jumping around in the background trying to unmask Gohan, and Gohan is obliviously like with his dad or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would fit right in. You're right. That'd be the way to go.
They decide this the only way that we can figure out of this 194 people who's going to actually compete in this tournament is by the use of this punch machine.
Yeah,
and this punch machine is a big old button that you push with your fist. And it gives you a number. So we're essentially resetting the power scale of the Dragon Ball universe in this one moment. The little caveat that I really like is that all of the Dragon Ball Z characters that we've known to be strong enough to break that machine have to hold back their strength because they can't reveal how strong they are. First up is Hercule. As the tournament champion, he's going to be sort of the control group. So he punches the machine and gets a score of 137. Apparently that's high. There's no indication of how high this thing goes. I think it's 999 is the highest because it's only a 3-digit thing, but whatever. So he goes away. He's like, "Good luck, everybody. I'll see you at the tournament."
Another thing, he does call his punch the Satan punch, which
he does. Sorry, I totally missed that. My note is Satan punch equals 137.
Yeah.
Also, of note, Piccolo destroys all of the other cameras in the vicinity because he's annoyed at everybody taking pictures and stuff. That's how he stops Sharpner from getting the picture of Gohan with this mask because the squirt gun thing actually works.
Yes.
And then he schools Gohan one more time. Piccolo schools Gohan. He's like, "Don't hold back your power. And I don't want you distracted by all these cameras." He says a ring is a place for fighters, not publicity seekers.
Yes.
He's still mentoring Gohan to this day. It's great.
Yeah.
So 137 actually seems to be a pretty high score as far as everybody else is concerned.
Yeah, the average people are trying and they're getting like 94, 102.
Yeah.
And like a bear claw comes and punches it and they're like, "Whoa, 112. I thought that was funny.
18 comes up and Krillin's like, "Just hold, just don't use your full strength. And she's like, I know. She just flicks it. I love the animation of 18 punching the button. It's really good. She punches it and it goes to 774. And everybody freaks out. And they're like, oh, there must be a problem with the machine. They're basically subtextually saying she's a girl, so she couldn't have hit that hard. But they sort of reset the machine or whatever. And she does it again. She's like, oh, fine. I'll hold back a bit. She does it again and she gets 203, which is still
Crazy.
super high.
And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then they go through Krillin. Krillin gets a 192.
Yep.
Goku gets 186. Piccolo gets 210. And I love that you can just see him holding back.
The way they punch it is they just barely move their fists.
They just a little, like a flick of the wrist. Yeah, it's great. Vegeta steps up.
Oh my God.
And hammers the button and blows up the machine. It explodes. And it legitimately got a laugh out of me.
Same.
It was established so many times before then that everybody was holding back. There was no preamble and no context. Like, he just blows it up. It's fantastic.
A literal punchline.
It is. It really is. And it got me good, man.
Yeah.
DBZ doesn't get me to laugh out loud very often, but that got me good.
Yeah. Just every single one of these episodes was incredibly good. We're hitting that probably peak of the beginning section right now. I think probably
this might be the best that Dragon Ball Z ever gets. This might be the top of the hill right now.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. This is startlingly good.
I'm so excited for this tournament. I'm unbelievably excited for this tournament. It is paced it so well that I'm actually anticipating the fights, even though there's very little stakes. I just want, somebody to win a lot of money. And I'm excited to see who fights who and who the 15 contestants are. I assume that everybody from Krillin all the way up to Goku is going to make it. I don't know what's going to happen with Goten and Trunks. They're in the junior division. That's a nice little twist. I want to see who fights Hercule. I want to do the next episodes, man. I'm excited.
Same. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to say that I have been at some points in the past not excited to watch Dragon Ball Z. In the middle of the Namek thing, was not super excited sometimes. This time, I'm so fucking ready.
We'll come back and discover all the answers to those questions and more next time on Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z. Did you want me to?
I mean, you can do that now. I'll just. We have an ending of a podcast we have to do.
Oh my God. Thank you for listening to Eric Hates Dragon Ball Z.
You might hate the show, but he loves that you're listening.
If you want to contribute to the podcast and help us keep this thing going, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/EricHatesDBZ. You can also find us on Discord using the URL discord.io/EricHatesDBZ. And we're on Twitter, twitter.com. I don't know, actually, it's just under the handle Eric Hates DBZ. I don't know how Twitter does their URLs.
If you like our content, check out the rest of our network. We are the Rocktopus Network of Podcasts. Check us out, www.rocktopusnetwork.com. You can check out our other podcasts. We have a tabletop RPG podcast called Tales of Nowhere, which is way more than you think. We take one cast of characters and take it through multiple games and rule sets. If you've ever listened to our podcast before, you've heard us fucking talk about it before. We also have another podcast called Halloween Nation, where one of our very favorite individuals from our network named Joshua takes you on a very scary journey along with his co-host. Why do I want to say Alicia? What the fuck? Why did that name show up in my head? Her name is not Alicia. It's Leah. I'm so sorry, Leah. You'll probably never hear this, but I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. You're one of my favorites. So anyway, check us out there. We do other stuff and make other content and put probably too much heart and soul and work into it, but we do. We also want to give a big shout out to every single one of our patrons. Check us out on DHDBZ. What is it? I don't remember. It's patreon.com/EHDBZ. Also, I'm doing this in post because we fucking forgot to fucking do it while we were fucking recording the fucking episode because we fucking suck. Again, sorry, Jeremy. I had to make this fast because I'm playing Elden Ring and I'm recording this 3 hours before the episode goes up. Thank you to Richard Elenis. Dude, I'm sorry about your last name. Andrew Winden. Tyler Hyatt, like the hotel. Croy Keener. Artex the Creator, Lori, CJ Collins, Jeffrey Grimm, Hearst Ran Out of Gas, Spencer Feuerstein, Dan Schwayamatai, and Felix Rodriguez. This list is getting long. I'm into it. It's fucking rad. Keep it up. You're awesome. Thank you.
The music for the podcast was done by the incredibly hardworking and talented John Good. You can find more of his music on SoundCloud under the name Burn7.
I don't know if you want to based off the music you hear in this podcast, but...
Well, those are for funs, and some of them might even have my voice in them.
So I think we're supposed to do a pun.
Yeah. Do we meet any new characters in these fun 5 episodes?
I don't think we... No. No. I don't think we did. They're about to do a tournament. So... Fuck. Can we just have, instead of a pun, can we just start having another random conversation about what the fuck ever? Can we just do that instead, where we would just talk about...
Oh, like a fun little bookend.
Yeah, where we just kind of talk about whatever instead. Because, like, I'm so fucking sick of sitting here for 10 to 15 minutes trying to come up with a pun. I don't know about you, but it's a nightmare.
It's pretty bad. It is.
We can do whatever the fuck we want, right?
It's our podcast.
Yeah, so we could do something else at the end, but it's up to you. It's up to you. Really, it's up to our fans, because people will tell us if this is a fucking terrible idea. They will tell us.
That's true.
Be like, hey, you're a stupid asshole. Make a pun. We'll be like,
God,
okay.
I feel like I had something too, and I let it slip my mind because I was trying to think of a pun.
One of these times, we should actually not cut this part so that people understand how literally long it takes for us to come up with a pun.
I think it would be torturous for them, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah. It's not for fun. It is not fun, but they would get it. They would get why we don't want to do a pun anymore.
Yeah.
They'd be able to sell why we don't want to do a pun anymore. That was supposed to be tell. They would be able to Videl why we can't do a pun anymore. Everything
I thought
around
you were
L.
gonna we'd be able to sell why we don't want to do the pun anymore.
We could also probably sell why we don't want to do the pun anymore.
Like Videl, we're gonna do a pun today.
I've been thinking about it. Videl is a hard fucking
It's
name
really
to make a
difficult,
pun.
yeah.
Yeah, you could make... It's like shooting... Oh my god, it's like throwing darts at a board. You could go 10 times and hit nothing.
So
fucking done. I don't care.
Oh,
I don't care.
Beautiful. So good. There it is. We did it.